Hey guys, good morning. It's Steph, and I'm talking today about running injuries, common running injuries. I've got 6 of them I want to go through with you. I've been a runner for more than I'd like to say since I was a kid, really. I played sports, and then when those were done, kind of turned to running and fell in love with it. But have had to deal with my fair share of running injuries myself, not only just from running, but I've had neck pain, back pain, upper back pain, lower back pain. I've had hip problems, pelvic problems. I had a knee surgery that I had to come back from. I've had ankle sprains. I had a foot injury. So I've had like full body. I have felt all the feels of all the injuries. And so I have a good idea of what you're going through if you're going through an injury currently. And I also know and have studied and learned how to come back from those. So that is my passion, and that's what I love to be able to help people do. So I have 6 common running injuries to go through with you here. All right, starting at the top as far as the legs go, and that's hip bursitis or tendonitis. So you have bursa is a fluid-filled sac that basically cushions a bone over when there's a tendon or other kind of structure that sits on top of it. So you have one of those right on the outside of your hip that cushions your big hip bone, and your IT band and some other structures go right over that. And so if that gets tight or if things are off as far as, one area is really tight, one area is weak, you're doing this repetitive motion of running, it starts to rub over that bursa, and that bursa can get inflamed and cause pain. And that's usually point tender pain right over the bony part of your hip. Tendonitis would be in those tendons that attach the muscle to the bone. So that can be more in the glute muscles, the butt muscles, and where they attach near your hip there. So it can kind of feel similar. So it's hard to differentiate the two, but typically, again, that bursitis is going to be a point tender right on the outside. It's going to be tough to lay on your side because it's going to be painful. So some of the causes of that, if some of those butt muscles are weak, and certain specific ones, the hip abductors, so the ones that move our leg out to the side, and then the external rotators, so ones that move our knee out to the side when our leg is bent. That's from the top. At the bottom, if you've got some weakness in your feet and your arch is dropping too much, that can cause a chain reaction all the way up to the hip. The front of the thigh, if you've got some weakness in those quad muscles, if you have some issues with your pelvis not staying in alignment, and it actually pretty commonly people have leg length differences. It could be slight, which doesn't bother you, but then if you start doing this repetitive movement of running, then that can start to cause issues in different areas. So another really common one that can cause some problems down the road is tight hip flexors. So that's the front of the hip muscle we use every stride, every step we take. And so if we don't stretch those back out, they can start to cause some problems. So obviously, we figure out what's going on, and then we try to treat it. So stretching, as we were just talking about, you want to stretch the front of the thigh, the quad muscle, which leads up into the hip flexors. We want to stretch those hip flexors, specifically the inner thigh, because when we run, we use those inner thigh muscles quite a bit too. So we want to stretch those back out so that our leg is not getting pulled in when we are running. We want to mobilize, so the IT band on the side of your leg, which I put 3 different terms for it there, runs all the way from your hip down past your knee. And it is a band. It's a band that's connected to a hip flexor muscle. So the muscle part we can stretch. The band itself we cannot stretch because it is just a thick fibrous tissue. But we want to mobilize it because it can get stuck down, and that can cause lots of problems too. So you mobilize it with a dynamic stretch. You can mobilize it with a foam roller, a stick, massage gun, things like that. And then with all of these, so there's going to be stretching, mobilizing, And the strengthening is a huge one for all of these. So we want to strengthen those weak areas in the hips, in the glutes, around your core, because obviously if you've got that pelvic stuff going on, we need your core to be stronger to help hold everything in position. And then if the problems are at the foot, you want to work on the stability and balance there. So you've got that strength built up from the bottom up as well. So that is hip bursitis. And if you have questions, go ahead and throw them below. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. If you have specific questions, you can for sure message me or email me. Next up, ITU syndrome. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Happy running.